Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about Donald Trump's nearly completely failed effort to reverse the gag order imposed on him by Justice Juan Merchan in the New York case. All right, so let's review this. Before the New York case, which culminated in the 34 convictions even began, Merchan imposed a gag order on Trump, and it was very targeted to the sorts of things you do to protect the process, protect the witnesses, protect the personnel in the court. And it told him he couldn't mention or disparage, court personnel, things that could corrupt a jury, things that could intimidate witnesses. Pretty, well, not straightforward in that it's routine, but it is often employed basically in mob cases where you're worried about witness intimidation, juror intimidation, and the like. So Merchan imposed this gag order, and from the start, Trump railed against it as a violation of his First Amendment rights, basically claiming that to assail and threaten witnesses and the like was core political speech for his campaigning. I mean, that's basically what the argument had to add up to. Okay, what has happened now? Let's just get to the headline. The New York Court of Appeals, which is New York's name for the highest court, what other places would be a Supreme Court, has dismissed his effort to get that reversed. I'm going to go back and explain just where it is now, but they just today had said no, Trump, and in a pretty curt, really dismissive way, just a single order that says, little line, no substantial constitutional question is presented. So in other words, Trump's railing away about his First Amendment vital rights and how it affects the campaign, et cetera. They just said, no constitutional question presented. All right, I want to double back, though, to where we are, because after the convictions, Merchan amended the gag order. He wasn't there. There was no cause anymore to worry about individual jurors, say. And even the ones that had served, they were no longer under his jurisdiction. So at least it wasn't to him to say, don't try to browbeat or intimidate them. But he still left in place things that would keep Trump from generally really defaming members of the court staff. He can go after Alvin Bragg. That was part of it, but not the people in court, not relatives and the like, and to keep from really corrupting the proceedings. That, again, is basic for a defendant who, like Trump, has been, obstreperous and threatening. But what's important to underscore about it is it means that Trump is right now before he's been sentenced, under the jurisdiction of the court in some way. Merchan still has a proceeding here, and as long as he does, he gets to impose certain conditions on Trump. From the time, basically, that this case started, Trump is not a fully free man, and he can make trouble that could get him. Merchan actually had a showdown with him and said, you seem to be begging me to put you in jail. I really don't want to, but if forced to, I will. And of course, the dynamic would change very much after an election, and very, very much after an election that Trump loses, where it wouldn't be such a huge implication for the people to treat a current candidate as opposed to a former candidate, in that way. So it's important to note that he had done just this even after the trial, and it means he continues to be able to exercise some control over him just based on Merchan's ability and imperative of controlling the courtroom and proceedings. Now, of course, when he sentences him, everyone's focused on will he give him a little incarceration or not, but he's going to give him, I think, a serious term of probation, and that again will really impose restrictions on Donald Trump, who is not used to having to say pretty please for things he wants to do. So this is just, Trump is a criminal now, and he's going to be within the criminal justice system for the rest of his life. And this illustrates it. So when Merchan amended the gag order, Trump again railed against it, demanded that he withdraw it. He said no. Trump went to the appellate division, demanded that it be reversed. They said no, and demanded. Now goes to the highest court. Says this is a terrible violation of my First Amendment rights and the most core free speech. But of course, no substantial constitutional question presented. Trump has one more step. He can file a petition for cert to the United States Supreme Court, ask them to take the case to find that it's a violation of the First Amendment. That's a federal question for Merchan to impose this gag order. But I think even the friendly climbs of the Supreme Court, he'll find no comfort in. So, I think he will petition for cert. And I think the Supreme Court will deny cert. We don't see any important federal constitutional question. All the time, e.g. mob cases, which is the closest analogy to you, we have to impose certain things. And it's not even a First Amendment kind of issue, really. It's more an issue of superintendence of the integrity of the proceedings and the safety of court personnel. First Amendment not only yields to that, really isn't even a First Amendment analysis. That's the right answer. And Trump, I think, is now effectively at the end of the line. He can ask the Supreme Court to review it, but the U.S. Supreme Court, but I don't see it happening. So Trump remains under the supervision of the courts. Look, if he becomes president, things will very possibly be frozen during the time of his tenure. But basically, the oversight of Merchan, and what is going to be a term of probation that maybe won't be imposed until after he's president, but that's the biggest case scenario for him if he wins. It still won't go away. It's just by way of underscoring Donald Trump is going to be subject to some oversight of the criminal justice system for the rest of his life. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.